So, hello once again, another vlog. So other than the podcasts and the video streams, I'm going to still be doing vlogs whenever I do something major. And with us is Phauxe again. So, today I treated you to the uncut version of RoboCop, first of all. How'd you like that?
Yeah, I enjoyed it. It was a good flick.
Especially the medic scene.
Yeah.
Somebody call the paramedics!
Yeah.
Dude, he's fucking dead. Yeah. There's no question whether or not he's alive. And that's the thing about that particular director, is that he loves the dark humor in the of the franchise.
Yeah, it really helped the movie too. I mean, it fit well with what they were trying to create. So.
Yeah, the thing that he thought. As a matter of fact, I've watched the special on my 2-disc set that you saw today for the uncut version.
Yeah.
And the thing is that the director originally did not want to do the original RoboCop. He thought it was really dumb. But then his wife picked up the script and she started reading between the lines more than he did, and she's like, you know, there's a few really good ideas here, maybe. And started throwing out the satirical news thing, also some of the dark humor with what happens to some of the characters and so on.
Right.
So, and you can still see that's thing that he really likes, because he also did Starship Troopers.
Okay, yeah. I can see that.
Yeah, so that's probably the biggest downfall of the new movie, is it not?
Yeah. And yeah, like I said, the original just did such a much better job of creating an atmosphere in a world that was kind of unique to itself, and it really knew what it was trying to go for, and it was able to deliver it really well. Whereas the new movie really didn't have the heavy atmosphere that the original carried with it.
Right. And I guess also the thing is that a lot of it was over the top, and they didn't allow Samuel L. Jackson to do the news over the top until the very end.
Yeah, the last news segment was great, but if it would have hit that stride a little bit earlier on, it would have played.
Hell, if it would have hit that stride at the very beginning.
Yeah.
I mean, that was just perfect, and that was actually getting legitimate chuckles from the few people that were actually in the theater today. Yeah. The theater was actually really busy today. It looks empty now, but this is exactly what the place looked like, and it's kind of light focus, but it's really kind of empty now. But this is what it usually looked like every time we come here, and we come here earlier or around the same time, and this is what it looks like now. But that's because they're kind of taking breaks between movies, I think, right now.
Yeah.
But when we usually do this, it's this dead. And when we came here today, oh my god, this place was full. But I think I know why. Lego and Frozen are still both being played here. I guarantee you there's a bunch of families coming here for the more family-friendly stuff, which I might add is really extremely popular all of a sudden lately, too. It's almost like the children's movies are doing things right.
Yeah.
And the adult movie makers are kind of...
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, yeah. The new RoboCop was really a meh kind of movie. I mean, there's nothing that was really, spectacular about it. Nothing that would... Yeah.
Well, there was a few moments that would really shine, like getting to see Murphy kick some ass in the full suit in live action. Yeah. Although most of those asses were digital ones.
Yeah, and it was kind of cool to see him without the suit too, completely stripped down and.
Oh yeah, to actually see how much of him is actually left.
Right. Yeah. That was pretty cool to see. So it did have some neat parts, but on a whole, yeah.
Yeah, and the fact that they made the corporation too evil, I mean, we understood that under the level, the corporation was technically not the nicest place, but the fact that they made it blatantly evil to the point that the main guy actually gets shot.
Yeah, and the other thing was like, yeah, you kind of hated the villains more in the original than you did in this one, just because they well, like I said, it seemed a little bit over the top for the corporate people, how evil they were. But even the people that he was trying to get revenge on, it felt like like you just hated them more in the first movie. Like they're more
they were
more
legitimately
despicable.
slimy
Right,
bastard
yeah.
assholes that you really wanted to see their comeuppance
Right,
for.
yeah, exactly.
Whereas this one, they were barely more than background characters,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
were dealt with as such.
Right. So it was kind of anticlimactic in that regard.
And the fact that there was only like maybe 2 or 3 of them, whereas the original movie they had like 5 or 6, and they were very unique guys.
Oh
each
yeah,
and every one of them.
yeah. They actually had personality.
Yeah, the black guy who was always the constant giggling jack off. The punk guy, who also was the one that almost got killed by Murphy the first time,
Right.
and almost got killed again the second time when he met him as Robo.
Yeah.
Then there's Mocker, the biggest douchebag of them all, the father from That 70s Show.
Yep.
Yeah. Try to combine those 2 characters and just tilt your head a little.
Yeah.
He played really good douchebags for his career.
Yeah, he really did. I mean,
Even though the 70s one is a little more redeemable, but this one, oh my word!
Yeah, you just wanted to see him like get his.
And you did. You finally did get to see him get his comeuppance the way he deserved it.
Yep.
Slice. But yeah, there were too many action scenes where it was really CG'd. While it was also interesting to have the family back, it felt like the family was a little shoehorned in. It was nice to have more of that background, but they didn't really seem to do anything.
Yeah, and the other thing that I felt kind of shoehorned for me, it was like trying to make him so. With the dopamine levels, where all of a sudden we're gonna take down his dopamine levels so he doesn't have any emotion, and then he's gonna start coming back, just by looking at clips of like his son leaving for school over and over again. I mean, in the original, it was more of a journey. It wasn't done in like a scene. It was carried out for a while and given the magnitude that it needed. Like he actually went back to the house, he thought back, he found a photograph that he had set up the camera for and taken with his family. I mean, it was more of a journey in that regard. And this one, it felt kind of rushed. Like the whole story arc really didn't add anything to the movie, I felt.
Yeah, the whole fact that he came back was then made into the RoboCop we knew from the original, and then built back into himself.
Yeah.
It felt like they really didn't need to do that, and they could have cut out a lot of time and given more characterization with that amount of time. And again, they could have done more segments with the news and made it more over the top, more satirical, and just given that extra punch as to the craziness of this universe, which is what the first one really did really well.
Mm-hmm.
So, how do we rate this? Do we want to rate this?
I don't know.
Do we want to do a 1 out of 5, or do we want to do how we would actually prefer to see this?
Well, if I had to give it 1 out of 5, I'd give it 3. It's pretty middle of the road.
It is very middle of the road. If you really are desperate for some new RoboCop, sure, go see it, but do not expect a whole lot out of it.
Right.
If I ever see it again, it would have to either be a $1 to $5 purchase, or at most a rental.
Yep.
Or Netflix.
I would agree. Yeah, or Netflix. If it's ever streaming on Netflix, I might turn it on while I'm working on something else. So.
Yeah, it wouldn't be the worst background noise.
Right.
Conan the Destroyer.
Yeah.
But it wouldn't be the worst background noise one would ever put on the TV.
Right. Exactly. So.
But as for a theater release for this one, I'd rather have a direct sequel to the original.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see if this one gets a sequel.
Yeah, actually, if they manage to get someone better at it for the sequel, that would be worth it.
Right.
And see if they could actually pull more of the original into a new sequel for an ongoing franchise.
Right.
Because RoboCop is definitely... It has not lost its teeth. It's the fact that the writers have lost their teeth.
Right.
Is the major problem, I think. And I think some of the film companies don't want to take the risk. Unlike, say, a certain company called Marvel,
Yeah.
who will put a fucking raccoon with a machine gun and a rocket launcher on your cinema screens and say, "Have fun."
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's another topic.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. Marvel's always been more willing to take risks, and more often than not, they'll
in every
pay off.
medium,
Yeah.
in fact.
Yeah.
they are the ones that took the risks in comic books of actually giving characters character arcs.
Yeah.
They are the ones that when they first delved into animation really hard in like the late 80s, early 90s, actually decided to go, well, here's this particular storyline. We really like it. It's doing really well. Let's make it an animated feature. And it did wonders for them.
Yep.
I'm talking, of course, the 90s X-Men.
Yeah.
That shit was awesome. And the 90s Spider-Man was okay.
Yeah.
They made a lot of tweaks, but I think it was actually a lot of good tweaks.
Right.
Like, they didn't kill Gwen Stacy, and
Yeah.
they made her the Black Cat, which, while not right, is still very interesting.
Yeah.
But that's, again, another topic. We're delving off.
Yeah.
So, I'd say look for the original, and actually, if you can find them for dirt cheap, which they might be now, since they're going to re-release everything, look for the original trilogy altogether.
Yeah.
The first one and the second one are really good. The third one, I would argue, is actually worse than this movie, but for curiosity's sake, it's worth a watch.
Yeah. I would agree. Yeah. If you haven't seen any of the RoboCop movies and you're thinking about checking it out, I'd say go back to the original, instead of this new one. So.
Yeah. So that's about 11 minutes now on the counter here. So I think we're kind of done.
Yeah.
So alrighty, see you all next time.
See ya.